A very good afternoon and welcome to Colombo, Sri Lanka, as the Lotus Tower looks out across this racecourse grounds, this picturesque racecourse grounds on a hot, humid December afternoon here in Colombo as we await the kickoff of the first leg of Sri Lanka and Hong Kong, the under-19 teams taking part in the Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship. This for a place in the Junior World Championship, the Tier 2 World Cup, as they would like to call it, live from the racecourse grounds here in Colombo. Joining us on ThePapare.com, we welcome all of our viewers, and in the commentary box with me, Dinuk Bhaskaran. It's looking a picturesque ground, but the heat will take its toll on the players. Watching them warm up, Dinuk, I'm tired already.
Yeah, very good evening, good afternoon rather, to all our viewers on Asia Rugby, Papare.com, and also Channel 1 and Dialogue TV. Yes, Shanak, as you said, it's a very warm afternoon here in Colombo, and it will test both teams. It will not only test Hong Kong. I know that Sri Lanka have been training under these conditions, but it will test both teams.
Yes, sometimes a lot of people assume that the home team has an advantage in these conditions, but that's not quite the case when you face the kind of oppressive heat that we are facing here. Those are the two captains. We have co-captains actually for Hong Kong, and for Sri Lanka on the left, that's Navin Henakankanamge, the senior most player in this Sri Lankan setup, who will lead the team. And for Hong Kong, the player on the picture there is Mark Coburg, who is the scrum half. He is co-captains along with his number 8, Max Denmark, who is a player to look out for. He's been playing on the Under-19 World Series as well, part of the 7th squad for Hong Kong. So lots of experience in this Hong Kong team, Dinuk, and they have beaten Sri Lanka in the past fairly comfortably. So Sri Lanka will have to pull all their stops out to make sure that doesn't happen again today.
Yeah, the Sri Lankan team, of course, preparation-wise, we always lack. That's one thing. But I think they have trained well enough to give a good fight. And this is the weather conditions that we have, 29 degrees Celsius, and it says partly cloudy. Yes, there is a bit of cloud cover on top, but that will not make any difference. Wind speed is about 13 kilometers per hour, and humidity level is 76%. Not that bad as we expect in Colombo, but still it's 76%. It's very high.
It is quite high, but sometimes we're used to seeing humidity percentages go up to the early 90s here, Dinuk. So that's something that will worry the players as well, because they won't be sweating as much. And although it says 26, the real feel is probably more like about 32, 33 at the moment out on this pitch, because it's just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is when the sun is still at its hottest. It will start getting a little cooler in about half an hour's time. So who's going to look into the sun as well? When you look at your screen, the sun will be setting towards the left as we look at the two flags being borne out by the flag bearers in anticipation of this massive international game here. Lots of rugby fans filling out the grounds as well here at the racecourse. Free entry for all the rugby-loving fans here in Colombo to cheer the junior Tuskers and to see a very competent Hong Kong team in action as well. Not often that we get to see international rugby here.
Yeah, correct. We had the Asia Sevens about a month ago, and we are back again with the Hong Kong team once again. That Sri Lanka will always hesitant to face that mental block is there. I hope if a young team like this can beat a Hong Kong team at the under-19 level moving forward in about 2-3 years, they'll be very confident.
Here's the Sri Lankan starting 15 at loose head prop. Avisha Priyankarage. Sven Muller is the hooker from St. Joseph's. Ashayan Fernando, the royalist, and one of the most experienced props in the business at the moment. Ashayan Fernando, he will be charged with making sure that that scrum remains rock solid. And there's no better guy I can think of there. Timiramanda from Wesley going in to the lock position, although he's wearing the number 6 jersey. And Rishan Madina, who missed out on the Bradby, one of the biggest games of his school career because of dengue fever, recovers, and he'll be very happy to wear the Sri Lankan jersey. Umar Mohideen, a surprise start for him at the open side flank. And Shashika Fernando, also from Wesley, the Ciaran FC player, released from his club duties yesterday, and he will be starting on the blind side for Sri Lanka as well. Gihan Pereira is the number 8 who played so well at the back of the scrum for St. Joseph's. Quite a few Josephians and Trinitians in this starting lineup for Sri Lanka, and look for his ball carrying ability as well as his line out ability. Harit Bandara and Chathura Seniviratna will be pairing off in the half-back positions, and Harit Bandara has got a lot of experience at club level now after playing his first few games for CRNFC, and he will be expected to partner off well with Chathura. Gamunu Chethi and Dinu Kamarasinghe, look for these two to interchange. Dinuk, you might see Dinu Kamarasinghe coming in at 12 and Gamunu Chethi running outside him in that second or third receiver position. So look for that interchange among the midfielders, and Dilushka Jange, Chamod Fernando and Navin Henakanganamge, plenty of penetration, plenty of pace and plenty of experience in this back three, and they will be tested today by Hong Kong. They will probably be putting the high bombs up as well, and Chamod Fernando will be key to how well the Sri Lankan team counterattacks.
Yeah, not a good season so far for Chamod Fernando so far playing for CRNFC, but yes, as you said, they'll be tested, and it's a good back set of backs that we have for Sri Lanka. A lot of experience there. Chathura Seniviratna may be lacking a bit of game time after that school season, but other than that, Harit Bandara and all the other players have had their share of playing a lot of game time. And also Dilusha Dange and Chathura Seniviratna, only the two players from Kandy who have been. It's very hard to get into that Kandy team, isn't it? So but they've been training with a lot of Sri Lanka players, so that's one advantage that we have.
Yes, even though they haven't played many games, they've been doing a lot of training with these lads. And one thing that Sri Lanka will be going out behind the eight ball a little bit is the fact that they haven't really played together as a unit before this. A few absentees also from the starting lineup, like the Lee brothers from Wesley, Samuel Madhuante, looking at Imesh Ponzo also from Wesley, and a few of those players who haven't been able to make it to the squad because their clubs haven't released them. So the same problem that England have in the Premiership, the same problem that a lot of teams have, national teams have with their club competitions, is prevalent here in Sri Lanka as well. And it's really a 50-50 call, because there's the Sri Lanka Rugby Association is not able to actually pay the players to come out and play these games as much as the clubs pay them for their services. So there's always two sides to that story, but it would be fantastic to have been at full strength, to have guys like Avish Kali available in that number 9 position. But similarly, Hong Kong are a team that have plenty of experience at this level. They've been playing together for a long time, Dinuk, and they've had some warm-up matches. They've played the likes of Fiji, they've played the likes of Chile, and they really have been preparing for a long time, for about 6 months for this tournament.
Yeah, that's one thing that they always are ahead of us, isn't it, Shanaka? They prepare well, they train a lot. If you said 6 months against about 3 weeks of preparation or 4 weeks of preparation, that's where we win and lose matches a lot. And I hope this team in these 4 weeks have done something that will at least give Hong Kong a good fight coming up. There's Priyantha Ekanayak at the back there just walking through. He has done a lot of hard work to put a lot of structure in the Sri Lankan rugby system so far. And it's all we always say it's a beginning, and I hope at least from now on it just kicks off.
Well, hoping for some stability for Sri Lanka Rugby as well in that CEO position. We've had people come and go, and Priyantha Ekanayak is someone who commands the respect of the council members, the players, and the administrators alike. So hopefully he will be the one to change things up here in this Sri Lanka rugby setup. He's just taken over. It's just about a year since he took over, so it'll take some time for him to undo some things that have been not at optimal level, and make sure the professionalism of this game goes on the up and up. We're ready for the teams to line up now, and the flag bearers, Hong Kong on your left, Sri Lanka on your right, coming out into this scorching heat, searing heat as it is. And you can see the Hong Kong lads already looking like they're putting their tongues out and feeling the effects of this heat already. It was a long warm-up, Dinup, and I'm really not sure whether international coaches should really amend their warm-ups for these oppressive hot conditions. Here's the Hong Kong team.
Yeah, Shanaka, just talking about warm-ups, it's very interesting, isn't it? They just have a pre-schedule that they have run through the warm-ups. Doesn't matter what conditions look like, they just do a 45-minute, 50-minute warm-up. And by the time these players come in, I'm not sure if this game will be played in every quarter. They'll have a break every quarter. I think that's how it will happen, because that's how the under-19 games have happened so far. So it'll be interesting to see how it will take effect later on in the game.
Yes, it might open up. You might see a few players falling off tackles later on in that fourth quarter of the game. That's where things generally go a little haywire, but that's where the benches are going to come in as well. So the benches will have plenty of rest by the time it comes to about the 60th minute of the game. So it's the guys who are starting that really put their shoulder to the wheel. And looking at the teams lining up, we'll now take a short break for the anthems. The anthems conclude and the home crowd looks on in expectation. A few Hong Kong fans as well dotted among the crowd there at the race course. The top tier is a little hot, so everyone's gathered in the lower tier as we anticipate kickoff in this Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship. Here's the visiting team. Jay Cook in the loose-head prop position. Tam Callum, Mikkel Christensen is the other prop. Sri Lanka will be expecting them to come hard at them early on. Jake Barlow and Liam Herbert, watching them in the line-out warm-up, they look very proficient in the line-out Hong Kong. Gregor Ramage, he's the man who causes a lot of damage. He's playing alongside his brother, who's also a destructive winger, Oliver Overman, and this is Max Denmark. At number 8, Gihan Pereira is going to have his work cut out with him. Here's the other co-captain, Mark Kuberg, who pairs off with Paul Altier at fly half. Look for him to kick early on in this game. Alex Nisbet and James Carton are the midfielders. Sri Lanka will probably match them for size and speed. And here's the back three, Shun Hong Chong, Oliver Duffy and Marcus Ramage, the man who destroyed Sri Lanka the last time these two teams met. So expect him to have the ball in his hands quite often.
A very experienced and talented team, big in size as well. Sri Lanka will have their work cut out, as you said. Playing in red from right to left on your screen is Hong Kong, and a mix of shades of blue, purple, white and green. The Sri Lankan team from left to right.
Junior Tuskers are taking on Hong Kong in this Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship. Hong Kong kickoff, and early on it's a drop from Dilushka Dange. It's a fair contest for the ball, and Dange coughs up the first possession. So Hong Kong have a massive open side. Going left as well, it's a favoured side for many of these players to pass to. So look for Hong Kong to try and run this one as Sri Lanka's coaching staff looks on. Rajiv Pereira, Imti Marika, Lasinta De Costa. So first scrum of the game, crucial moment to Dinuk.
Yeah, very big moment, and this will just set up things for both teams and how and who will dominate going on into in the next 70 to 75 minutes. And it's so early to have a scrum in a game and under this heat, and it's going to test both players, and obviously it's Hong Kong will have the weight advantage. Nice and relaxed, the Hong Kong bench there.
Ashin Fernando on this near side for Sri Lanka at the tight head position. Will look to bolster the scrum. Max Denmark doesn't pick it up off the back. Looking for Ramage coming in off the blindside wing, and this is why he's so dangerous. Takes two tacklers with him and sets it up nicely in the middle of the field. Here's the ball available for Duffy coming in. And picking it up and going his overturn. He's over for the first try. In fact, it's Gregor Ramage who's over for the first try. So his brother started and Ramage finishes. The referees are having a little bit of a chat, checking to see whether there was a try actually scored.
Obstruction. Yes. Okay, time off.
Looks like there might have been an obstruction, so Sri Lanka get away with one there. Coach complaining that he couldn't hear what went on. But this was easily done, wasn't it? Duffy completely straightening the line there, and you could see probably Shun Hong Chong, who was in front of the player and pulling on this would-be Sri Lankan defender. So Ramage couldn't get a hand on him. So that's what the referee spotted, and good work from the assistant referee as well to spot that one. But danger times for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that's a very tricky call, isn't it? Navin Hena Kankanamge there just pulled on the jersey, just held him for about a couple of seconds.
Blue number 12
And,
get injury.
giving away the penalty for Sri Lanka. Hong Kong, nevertheless, a brilliant start.
Yeah.
Nice bust up through the middle by Marcus Ramage,
Okay, yeah.
coming off a lovely inside ball, and then
Penalty, obstruction. Bring back.
Sri Lanka with the player down in back play. Chathra Seniviratne looks to clear his lines and kicks it straight into the hands of Duffy, who now looks for Ramage to make a bit of an impression here, and Ramage looks like he's going to go on his own, just has his jersey pulled by Sashika Fernando. Here it is for LTA. The prop in midfield, Christensen. Here's the other prop, Jay Cook. The front row forwards holding up the ball in midfield, and now LTA with the long ball. Here's the other front rower, Callum Tam. Makes it to ground. Duffy featuring several times in this move. Ramage thought he'd scored a little while earlier, trying to get another opportunity. And here's it opening out for Duffy again. Here's Max Denmark. Denmark bumps off the first tackle, leaves the ball behind very well, but not before he'd just gone into touch under the tackle of his opposite number, Gihan Pereira. And Denmark, you could see the little swerve of the hips, and you can see how he's a sevens player, not very heavy on top, Dinuk, but he's got plenty of strength in that lower body.
yeah, and it's nice to see how they're using the width of the field from right to left, left to right, and then punching through the center as well.
Time off.
This is a key player down, Navin Hena Kankanamge. That'll be a big worry for Sri Lanka. A couple of players who have already just holding their shoulders. There's one already walked off, so it's very interesting now. Here's the replay
Number
once
12.
again, Shanaka. Look at that, as you said. Good tackle from Navin Hena Kankanamge. There's putting the shoulder right on his knee and just pushed into touch with about a couple of Sri Lankan players. So
One step.
It wasn't great technique from Hena Kankanamge, though, wasn't it? He got his head in the wrong position, which is why he might have got a bit of a stinger. Gamunu Chethi also off the field at the moment. Not sure whether Sri Lanka have chosen to substitute him as yet, but Sachika Fernando wins a crucial line-out ball on his 5-meter line. And Thikshana Dasanayaka has come on for Gamunu Chethi, the second Pete right in the starting lineup. And in front of the ball was Jake Barlow.
Offside.
Didn't retreat behind the offside line, and Barlow concedes another penalty, and Chathra Seniviratne will certainly look to find touch here. Missed touch on the last occasion. Very little angle to work with. But goes for a little less distance and makes his touch sure this time.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, very important, that kick into touch. That's where Sri Lanka can gain at least some yardage and then put a lot of pressure on the Hong Kong defense. Hong Kong started off very well, but just Sri Lanka lucky to keep them scoreless so far.
Sven Muller to throw in. That's overthrown.
Advantage, not long.
The back of the line out. And Max Denmark is quick to pounce on that ball. Here's Kuber. Altier gives it to his big number 12, Alex Nisbet. Nisbet to his center partner. And here's Ramage for the first try of the game. And it was, we thought it was a Ramage opening the scoring earlier on. And it is actually a Ramage opening the scoring this time as well. And it's the man who caused so many problems for Sri Lanka on the last occasion these two teams met, Gregor Ramage, who goes over and scores the first try for Hong Kong. It was easily done.
Yep.
Just the pace, straightening it up when they needed to.
Yeah, a bit too easy there for Hong Kong. A lovely backhand pass and then lovely hands. Look at that. Just held on to that ball for that extra second to hold the Sri Lankan defense, and there was too much pace on the outside by Ramage. Marcus Ramage scoring the first try for Hong Kong.
And it's that skill, isn't it? Once again, the ability to execute the passes in a short space. If they're able to make that 4-on-3 count because their passing is so crisp in those short spaces.
Yeah, that's where international teams are so good. And if you take the All Blacks in that last 5 meters of space on the outside channels, they have about 3 players, and that passing and then when to pass is very key to attract the defender in front of you and then give that ball out to create some space. That's where this try also was created by Hong Kong.
Paul Altier lines up his first kick of the game. Had a good long look, and it's good. So maximum for Hong Kong to start off with, a 7-pointer. Altier's conversion from a difficult angle. He had a good sight of it. And Ramage's try is converted. So simple rugby from Hong Kong, not trying anything too flash. Just beating players on the outside, straightening up and using their hands.
Yeah, that's basics, isn't it? And that's where good teams will start off as Chatura Seneviratne restarts.
A little bit of indecision there, but Ramage eventually goes back to claim it. Sven Muller trying to rip the ball away from the flank forward. And Hong Kong under a little bit of pressure in that breakdown. Kuba couldn't get it away, but now they have a chance to counter-attack. A little outside of the foot kick. Henakan Kanamge has to go back, and he does well. Throws the ball infield, but that might have been dangerous. He should probably have held on to it, Navin Henakan Kanamge. But did well to get back. And Hong Kong spotting a little opportunity there. You can see they're always looking to attack.
Anxious coaching start, the Sri Lanka bench. Here's the replay once again. Henakan Kanamge tracking back there. And touch and go, but as you said, it's a bit risky. Here's Hong Kong once again. A lovely running line there.
Beautiful hit up by James Carton in the number 13 jersey, Altier. Here's a little swerve from Duffy, and here's Ramage. So much strength in those hips from Ramage. Doesn't look like he's got all the pace in the world, but it's just so deceptive. Here's his brother. Gregor. Straightening straight through the gap. Hong Kong, but they just throw the ball away, and now coming away with it is Mohideen. He gives it to his flank forward partner, Sashika Fernando. Fernando finds himself in an unexpected bit of space, and now his forwards get with him. But again, knocked forward, and 2 knock-ons. The referee will be compelled to come back and award a scrum. But the handling from Sri Lanka leaving a lot to be desired there.
Yeah, the difference so far between both teams is handling and how nice and clean the passing has been, catching and passing by Hong Kong, and the difference in technique of catching and passing. We saw that during the warm-up as well by Sri Lanka. They'll be going with his soft hands, pointing the fingers up in the air, just waiting for the ball to come, expecting the ball to come. That's where it's key. Sashika Shan was not expecting the pass there, and when he got that, he didn't know what to do.
Set.
Accuracy of the skill execution, that's what separates the good from the potential. Referee saying that the scrum had gone through the 90. Hong Kong managing to get a push on this near side. Fernando will need to make sure he buckles down and drives straight through on Jay Cook. Doesn't allow the loose head to get under him too much. But Hong Kong with a clear weight advantage here. Max Denmark will be eyeing that blind side. He's very quick off the mark, so look for him to try and take on Fernando. In fact, he goes on the open side, leaves the ball behind in a tackle from Mohideen. So it was a good intervention from Mohideen, made sure he went for the ball, didn't try to take man and ball.
booking earlier.
Yeah, just marked down Max Denmark, tracked him on the right side.
Okay.
Again, expecting him to come. I think it was Harit Bandara who managed to stop him there. So that's
Should be
good
suitability
work from the
before
young
kicking the ball. Okay.
Isipatanin.
Yeah.
Smart work, realizing that he was going to lose that battle if he went in on a head-on tackle. So wait till he got round him and slapped the ball out of his hands, forced a knock-on. So good smart work from Harit Bandara, who was outstanding in the Army game that he started for CRNFC, made a few crucial cover tackles. So look for him not to shy away from the big men in this Hong Kong lineup. Bandara to Chatro Senivaratne, who's got a prodigious boot on him. And that's really high in the air, but Ramage deals with it really well. Looking into the sun and staying on his feet well. Waits till his support gets there and makes the ball available for his team. Helped out by his brother as well, but looks like there were hands in that ruck, so
Play on the ground.
Sri Lanka get another opportunity to get deep into opposition territory.
Play on the ground.
And they won't be too unhappy with how the scoreboard looks at the moment. It's 12 minutes gone. And apart from that Ramage burst, Sri Lanka haven't really let Hong Kong swarm them too much.
Yeah, there were a couple of opportunities for Hong Kong. I think one was of that obstruction call that stopped them from scoring that first try. But other than that, Sri Lanka will be happy with their
Number
effort.
3, marked here. Here. Number 1.
And if they can get this set piece right and put some pressure on Hong Kong inside their 22 for the first time, Sri Lanka will be very interesting.
Sven
Numbers,
Muller dumming
numbers.
there and
Numbers. 4.
showing the
Numbers.
referee that Hong Kong had more numbers. So referee sensibly just stopping the game and sending Hong Kong back. Nicely won. Inside ball, but Denmark was alive to it. Sven Muller was the man running onto that. Little show and go from Senivaratne, but well held by Ramage. Sri Lanka managed to make the ball available. Harit Bandara sniping, almost through. Callum Tam was the man who brought him down, and Sri Lanka now getting a little bit of wind up.
No hands.
and go.
No punch. Hands
Holding
away.
successful. Ball is still available, but it's very slow for Sri Lanka. Bandara now. And the pass is not a good one from Chatro Senivaratne. Tikshana Dasanayaka spills it as well.
Black.
And Ramage tidies up for his scrum half, and LTS spots the gap
Play.
and gets it away nicely. Here's Duffy, but it looked like it might have been a forward pass. So Sri Lanka live to breathe another day. They got a few phases going there, Dinuk, and if they're able to just keep that last pass without forcing it, they might actually make some inroads.
Yeah, there were opportunities then. Ball coming off those rocks a bit slow. Harit Bandara needs to talk to their forwards, get it fast. And look at this once again, Shanaka. About 3 players have just backpedaled there. Harit Bandara, Dilu Shadange and Chamud Fernando on the far side. It was just open space, a lot of space for Hong Kong. And if you give them that initial burst to run through, it's going to hard catching them up.
Good vision from Altier. He shaped as if to kick and then suddenly saw it open up in front of him. Went through the gap, but just the pass was not flat enough for the referee. It was very much forward. Gihan Pereira holding on to that ball, but again driving in, and it's Jay Cook probably who's been pinged by referee.
Post.
Ashen Fernando winning a penalty for his team, making sure that the loose head bores in on him. And Sri Lanka will be grateful for a chance at points. Chatro Senivaratne is the man who will be tasked with the kicking duties this afternoon for Sri Lanka. Massive distance on his boot, but he'll need to follow that up with some accuracy as well.
No water.
The Honourable Minister
No,
of Digital
speaker.
Infrastructure and Telecommunications, Mr. Harin Fernando. On his right, Sri Lanka Rugby CEO, Priyantha Ekanayaka, former star player for the senior Tuskers. And Chatura with the first chance of points. And if this goes over, listen to this ground erupt. Strikes it well enough, and it's the first 3 points for Sri Lanka. 16 minutes gone, and Sri Lanka on the board. And if they can concentrate, catch this restart and get back into opposition territory, that's what their coaches will be expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, to play as much as rugby as possible in the Hong Kong half. That's exactly 100% agree with you, Shanak, on that. And then just put those 3 points on, keep putting on, and then suddenly you'll be in the 75th minute about two points behind or 2 points in front. That's where the game can turn around.
Still a long way to go as Altier puts this up. And it was taken well that time by Dinuk Amarasinghe, the big centre. Sri Lanka now looking to put some phases together. And again, Hong Kong's discipline letting them down a little bit. The ruck was formed, said the referee, and you can't use your hands in the ruck. That rule hasn't changed. A lot of laws have changed, Dinuk, but not that basic one, that if the ruck is formed, you've got to let go.
I think these youngsters are still learning on how to roll away and come back into that position to contest for the ball, and then by the time they do that, the ruck is already formed. So there's a bit of timing issue there, Hong Kong. About 2 to 3 penalties considered there already.
Hong Kong. Hong Kong. One step back.
Just trying to over-eager to contest on the ball after ruck is formed. So once again, Sri Lanka have come into the opposition territory.
Important line out here. Sasika Ashan lifts at the back. And the referee letting that one go. It looked a little off centre, but Dinuk Amarasinghe carrying strongly in the middle of the park. Here's Chatura putting in a little grubber kick for Henakan Kanamge to run onto. And that's a smart kick. If they can force Hong Kong into kicking this one out, then that will be a win for Sri Lanka and a net gain.
Yeah, and then also the set pieces are very important. Hong Kong not contesting there in that lineup. It's very interesting to see that, and that's why the referee let it go. No material impact there. And now, if Sri Lanka can put pressure in this line out inside the 20 to trying to disrupt that ball, who knows, you can even win this ball off the line out.
Callum Tam, important throw for him. And he goes to the back to Ramage, and it's well crooked. So that's the pressure that Sri Lanka would be looking to build. And in the defensive position, that is an interesting call that Max Denmark would have made. He's the co-captain, so he probably would have made that line-out call as well, to go to the back. But sometimes it's just better to go to the front of the line-out, make sure you win your ball, stabilize before you go for those fancy throws, expansive throws at the back.
Yeah, Shanak, and especially early on in the game, going to number 6 is not that advisable. And also, if you see Sri Lanka not contesting in that lineup, they could have easily gone into 2 or 4 there.
Well, this is an interesting scrum. Look for Gihan Pereira. Maybe use the tram lines. Sri Lanka have won 3 of their scrums. Hong Kong haven't yet. Pereira, but leaves it for Harit Bandara. Bandara to Chandra Seneviratne. It's a short pass, but nobody wanting to run onto it. Complete miscommunication there. And it went forward off Seneviratne, and an ideal position squandered there. Just a little too elaborate. Can see the captain having a chat to his fly half. And he raises a hand in apology.
There you go. Just had one player, just got that timing right, because the defender was Fox there, because there was 2 running on either side of him. And had Navin got there before and got that ball in his hand, it would have been very interesting, Shanaka, because Navin is so powerful and hard to stop close to the line.
Navin Henakan Kanamge, no stranger to Asia rugby fans. We've seen him score some outstanding tries, both at junior level and senior level. Part of the Sri Lankan 7 setup. Max Denmark goes off the back. Runs straight into Dinuk Amarasinghe, who brings him down in a good chop tackle. Here's Kuber.
Play the hole, number 4.
Altier, who's forced to kick. And Chamud Fernando now the danger man, looking to step his way through Jason Robinson style. Sashika Fernando gives it to the big prop forward running onto it. That's Avisha Priyankara. And here's some space now for Sri Lanka. Henakan Kanamge trying to stand his defender up. Sven Muller runs a nice angle to keep the ball in play and drops the ball back. But it was well recovered that time by the Hong Kong lock, Liam Herbert. And that's charged down, but just beating everyone into touch, that ball. Hong Kong's hearts in their mouths there. This Mohideen was challenging for that ball, but the bounce beating everyone.
Yeah, good pressure there by Sri Lanka, finally showing some character, putting the Hong Kong defense on the back foot. And now in Henakan Kanam, there are a couple of steps. Saw Swain Muller. Here's the last bit of that. The kick made there by Mark Kober. And charged down by Umair Mohideen, and almost Sri Lanka made something out of that. Here's Dilusa Dange.
Dange looking for the little step, but met in a solid tackle. And Hong Kong pour into that breakdown, but Sri Lanka managed to still control that ball. Thikshana Dasanayaka stays on his feet just long enough for some support to get there. And Bandara now has a few options. Chatura Seniviratne looks to dummy. Passes it on to his teammates. Dinu Kamarasinghe manages to get the ball away to Henakan Kanamge.
Hands away.
Referee allowing play to go on there. Says it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And Bandara, lovely angle run onto it by Avisha Priyankara. Outstanding running game last year for Trinity. And now Chatura Seniviratne looking to come back in field, but runs into the heavy traffic. Bandara, this is a good face play from Sri Lanka. Sashika Fernando stays on his feet well, swivels back into support. Bandara sizes up his options and goes right again. And once more Sri Lanka put in the grubber kick by the shoulder charge by Gregor Ramage.
Please make sure drop point. Drop point.
On Chatura Seniviratne. Didn't look like he tried to wrap his arms, and it was late.
Time off.
And you can trust Chatura Seniviratne to make the most of this one for sure. And why not? Because it might result in a card for one of Hong Kong's key players.
Captain.
What do you think, Dinuk? Will it be a card or will it be just a penalty?
I saw the referee
After the
initially. His
He
initial
showed the
instinct was he
charge.
went straight into the pocket.
Yellow
So
card.
yes, it's a yellow. Gregor Ramage, very key player, important player
Dropping
for Hong
point.
Kong, and this is where Sri Lanka
Yeah.
need to capitalize. Chatura Seniviratne is
Captain.
up soon as the card was given. He's up, and the penalty will
Captain,
be taken
captain.
deep inside the Hong Kong half. The referee
Captain.
just wanted to mark
Captain.
where the ball ended up.
Yeah. That is a late
So if it's a
tackle.
late charge, you can take the
He
penalty
needs a
from
drop
where the ball
point
lands. Let's
because
watch it
this is a
again
kick
here.
after the
Seniviratne
charge, yeah.
thinks about the pass
Yeah.
and then smash. That was a yellow card. Don't think Hong Kong can have any
Okay,
complaints
Mark,
about that. No attempt by Gregor Ramage to wrap his arms around the tackling, the player he was tackling.
3 more points on the cards. Kicking range for Chatura Seniviratne.
Great tackle.
Well, you're a man down and you've just lost one of your big players. And I'm not sure this is the right decision. Dinuk, maybe with the momentum that Sri Lanka were having, maybe go for the corner. And their lineup was working pretty well so far. Try and get a rolling maul going against a
This
7-man
is the line. Mark Chiu.
pack for Hong Kong perhaps, but Sri Lanka going for the percentage game. They'll still be behind even if this goes over.
Yeah, but a lot of time on the clock left. But as you said, it's just that
30
they need
seconds.
to use this 10 minutes
30 seconds.
that a player down for Hong Kong. They need to use
Yeah.
that 10 minutes to their advantage, Sri Lanka, and get as much as points as possible. As Chatura Seniviratne slots this in between the posts it goes, or rather off the left
Drop out.
post, just going away off that win. So that's the risk that Sri Lanka took, which didn't pay off. However, it'll come off a 22-meter restart, an opportunity for them.
Thought he rushed that a little bit, Dinuk. He didn't take his time at all. Chatura Seniviratne, and struck it pretty well, but just the accuracy missing as Altier will look to go deep, knowing that he has one of his flankers in the bin. Once again, Dange trying to put the little step in, squeezing the ball back between his legs. Good technique from the left winger. Again, bit of a dodgy pass from Chatura Seniviratne, and doing well to hold on to it was Rishen Madena. Dinu Kamarasinghe not able to make the most of that situation because of some lack of coordination in the midfield. Ramage shakes his head to the camera. Doesn't seem too happy about that yellow card, but he's probably the only one that doesn't believe it should have been a yellow.
Yeah, I think he thought for all money he had his hands wrapped around Chatura Seniviratne. Referee had other thoughts. Again, Sri Lanka have running some good running lines of their backs, but it's just that communication and getting that timing right has been a problem so far for Sri Lanka, Shanaka. But they've been doing something good. But Chatura Senirata needs to get his backs a bit more talking when they call for the ball, and also the running lines.
That's a great shove on by Sri Lanka, but Kuba does really well to shovel this ball back. And this is the number 11 in the line, Hong Shu Chong, and this is Ramage, manages to get the ball back inside, and that's a great inside ball for Hong Kong to score, and it's Alex Nisbet who will score the second try for Hong Kong. Wonderful support line, and Ramage this time doesn't try to do too much, just draws the final player and passes it infield, and Alex Nisbet runs that in easy as you like. Really good work from Paul Altier there.
Yeah, very nice work from Hong Kong. Just sent the ball out onto the far side, and then Alex Nisbet, perfect running line, running supportive line. Look at that, just sent it on the outside, and look, two players drawed, and Chamod Fernando was a bit fox, went too much to his left, and it was too late for him to catch up from there on. And these are the basics that Hong Kong are doing very well, catching and passing, using the width of the field and knowing where their support is coming from, and the support is just continuing to come from inside. Even though the ball is sent out, there are about 2 to 3 players always running in support inside. So that's where Hong Kong have capitalized so far in the first 20-30 minutes.
Funnily enough, I think the getting that shove on in the scrum actually disserviced Sri Lanka there a little bit, because the flankers were going forward at a rate and couldn't get back in time to provide that cover defense support that Chamod Fernando desperately needed there. And Altier, credit him with the vision to make the right calls, to make the right passes, to create that try. And Altier's kick also, his second kick, so both fly halves have missed their second kicks at goal. And it's a 5-pointer to Nisbet. Stride doesn't get converted as Ramages did. And the Hong Kong coach makes a few notes in his tablet. On his tablet, I should say.
1 minute penalty goal.
And Senirathna, who squandered 3 points a little while ago, we want to make sure that he's on the mark with this restart. So instead of using the sin bin to their advantage, Sri Lanka have conceded points, which is a cardinal error. Kuba waits. Denmark trying to spin his way out of a tackle, but he's a marked man this afternoon. Kuba directing traffic at the back of that breakdown and gives it to Altier, who's stationed well deep in the pocket. And it's a nice little back-spinning kick for Hong Chong to run onto, but the ball beating everyone into touch.
ThePapare.com on now on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Follow us for all the action on ThePapare.com. Any sport that you want to follow, local and international. And you can have your thoughts on Twitter as well. And ThePapare.com is now on all social media platforms.
Sashika Fernando, imperious in the middle of the line out for Sri Lanka so far. And Sven Muller has been hitting his mark. Harit Bandara with a flat pass to Senirathna, who has to come back onto his right foot to put this one into the air. Nobody wants to claim it. Duffy has to go back behind the try line, and he's under some pressure now from Thikshana Dasanayake. Sri Lanka eventually make the tackle, and it's a dangerous pass off the floor to Ramage. And Mohideen does well to bring him down, along with some help from Ashen Fernando. And Hong Kong under pressure on their own line. And Kuba manages to get this one away. Got it charged down the last time he was in a similar situation, so he would have been thinking about that. So Sri Lanka will look to capitalize here, Dinuk.
Yeah, perfect opportunity. 7 on 8 on the line out. And Sven Muller, if he gets the target right, as he said before, he's been getting a good ball to Sashika Hashan, and the rolling ball just worked well in that initial play. Here's a great opportunity for them.
That's well won by Gihan in the middle of the line out. A little bit of shuffling, but the maul is sacked very quickly by Hong Kong. Nicely done. And here's Thikshana Dasanayake looking to put his foot down. He's got a man outside him, and it's just beats the outstretched hands of Dilushka Dange. The pass was not the best one. It should have been a little bit floated for Dange to run onto, but still should probably have done a little bit better, the Trinitian winger.
5.
Here the replay once again.
Scrum.
He was all money. He has a lot of pace, Dange, to run on the outside. Couldn't get the ball onto his hand.
He had one eye on Marcus Ramage, probably why he spilled that ball. Need to watch the ball into your hands, and it was in the breadbasket from Teshana Dasanayaka, but somehow just popped out. Sri Lanka will now look to stay in this half. They've won the territorial battle so far, with just about half an hour gone in this scorching afternoon here in Colombo. Sri Lanka, as you watch the Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship playoff underway, this is for a chance to play in the Tier 2 Junior World Cup. Hong Kong the favourites, of course, to go through. And if Sri Lanka managed to win here at home, they could set up the next clash on the 16th. Very nicely. Ashen Fernando has been good on this near side of the scrum for Sri Lanka. They're putting the Hong Kong pack under pressure.
Advantage over.
Referee looked like he was going to blow the short arm, but instead he's allowed play to continue, and Denmark just trips over, and Chamot Fernando manages to come away with the ball. Didn't have the confidence to try and beat the chasing players on the outside, Chamot Fernando. You can see how he's been a little bit affected by how his games for CRNFC have gone. He hasn't been in the best of form that he was for Isipatana at the latter part of the school season. So you can see why he chose to kick, but Sri Lanka untidy, dominating the scrum, but not following on from it.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that has been something that Sri Lanka has to work on, Shanak. As you said, Chamot Fernando. This was the attack by Hong Kong. Max Denmark there, putting a lot of pressure. Back live as Hong Kong once again a lovely loop around, and nice pass on the outside. Trying to cut back in is Marcus Ramage, and he still goes fence off one, fence off two, and he scores for Hong Kong. That's the third try.
Well, it's Marcus Ramage's second try as well, and you can see why he's been so devastating against Sri Lanka. It's just a little jinx, a little hip swerves, and the fend that he gets out when he has to. And he's a dangerous, dangerous player. He doesn't look a physical specimen. It doesn't look like he's the fastest man on the field. But boy, does he know his way to the try line. And credit once again to Altier, who created this one. Sliced through the midfield, and a lovely lateral step from Ramage there. And in the face of two defenders, he manages to beat them both to the try line. So it's that lateral stepping, just so explosive off the right foot there. You know, that's what creates the difficulty in this man's attack.
And off that right foot, how he accelerates the pace. He's shown that's off that right foot, as you said, bang, he goes. And and also has the ability to read the defenders coming in front of him. As you said, it's not explosive as he has been seen here, but he has scored 2 tries, a lot of vision, a lot of thinking, and reading the defensive structure and running into space.
Well, all the good things that Hong Kong have done have come off the back of this man on your screen right now. Paul Altier has an unusual arm-swinging stance while he waits to kick the ball, takes his time as well, which is always a good thing. But he really has a fantastic vision. And that long floated ball to the right, and although that kick goes wide, he will be happy with the part he played in that try.
Just an update from Dharmasala, Sri Lanka Tour of India. India 112 all out, and Sri Lanka 3 for no loss in 1.3 overs. So some thing to cheer about for the Sri Lankan cricket fans if they can get this 112 or 113.
Well, Sri Lanka will be favourites at Dharamshala, but they're underdogs at the moment here at the racecourse as the junior Tuskers look to emulate the senior cricket team.
No, leave it.
Altier
Let's stay.
carried back, so he can't kick it out on the full. Puts it straight into Chamot Fernando's hands. Let's see what the diminutive fullback can do. Real counter-attacking threat. Nisbet takes his time rolling out of the way, and the Hong Kong defensive line is up really quickly. Sven Muller was the man who tried to roll the Hong Kong attacker
No,
away.
no
Here's
hands.
Jay Cook, who rumbles it up in the middle of the field, and now Hong Kong will look to go wide. Here's Callum Tam. Callum Tam's pass looked really flat, and Max Denmark is lifted off the floor. They've got to bring him down safely now.
Okay, good.
And Denmark just shoves the ball off the top of that tackle back, and they've gone about 15 meters back, and Nisbet throws a long ball out to Duffy. Duffy looking for Overton, and here's Hong Shung Chung. And Chung is going to go in for Hong Kong's fourth try in just a matter of minutes. Everybody got a little excited on the far side of the field when they had Max Denmark up in the air, but he had the presence of mind to chuck his pass towards some defenders, and Shung Hong Chung
Oh, no, thank you.
was the beneficiary of some really good work from Nisbet and some good hands and good vision from the midfielders.
Yeah, Shanak, as you said, Max Denmark on the outside there, just throwing the ball and then had a couple of props. Look at that once again. Draw and pass, draw and pass. Good skill shown there by Hong Kong to score on the stroke of half time. That was Sean Hung Chung who scored that, the number 11, the left wing for Hong Kong. It'll be a 35-minute half in this under-19 game as the hooter goes.
Yeah.
Paul Altair will kick this 3 out of 1 for him. Will not be happy with that kicking percentage. He would like to nail this one through going into half time.
Interesting cap sleeve concept on the jerseys for this Hong Kong under-19 team. Doesn't fit the shoulder as tightly as the designs we are used to seeing on international teams. It's got a little bit of space. Not sure whether that's intentional. But Altier strikes that really well, but it curves away unfortunately in the wind. And it looks like that's half time here at Colombo, and both wingers on the board. Marcus Ramage on the right wing has 2 tries, and Shun Hong Chong has 1. Hong Kong have 4, and Sri Lanka though haven't disgraced themselves. Just a few defensive lapses that allowed Hong Kong in, and Sri Lanka got close on a few occasions but just haven't been able to convert. And the forwards are doing a good job at scrum time. They're doing a good job at line-out time as well. And they just need to make sure they put the finishing touches on a few moves. And come the second half, maybe that's exactly what they're going to talk about and work on. 22 points to 3 here in Colombo, Sri Lanka, as we watch the Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship. Dinuk, lots to look forward to.
Yeah, lots to look forward to. As you said, the finishing touches for Sri Lanka has been not that good. They have had their opportunities inside the 22. That's the confirmation. 22 points to 3. Hong Kong leading against Sri Lanka at half time here at Race Course Grounds. We'll be back after a break.
Watch the latest seasons of your favorite TV shows on the same day as the US. Good Behavior, Young Sheldon, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Blind Spot, Jane the Virgin, Law and Order True Crime, MacGyver, and many more unfold exclusively on Dialogue Television, Sri Lanka's #1 television experience. Sri Lanka's #1 television experience now brings you the Interclub Rugby season live. Don't miss out on any of the action. Exclusively on Dialogue Now, channel #1 on Dialogue Television, the Dialogue TV Go app, ThePapare.com, and Dialogue My TV.
කලබලේ සිහියෙන් පාරේ යන්නත් මට දැන් බැහැ වගේ තුන්හිල ඇල්ලෙන් හැලෙනවා මට කියන්න ආසයි ආදරේ බක් මහේ අකුණක් ඇවිත් වැදුනා වගේ
Hear it, sing it, share it. Dialogue music හඳුන්වා දෙන Yonder Music.
Welcome back. We are at race course, and Hong Kong leading 22 points to 3 against Sri Lanka. Not a bad first stop for the junior Tuskers, but need to get their the finishing work or just catching and passing work right. That part of the skill needs to be executed. Very important, very key in any format.
Coming to Jayasena, part of the Sri Lanka under-19 setup, former Havelock's captain. You're absolutely right there. As we watch the highlights of the first half, here's Marcus Ramage just so quick off the mark. Nobody really in front of him as he exploded down that right-hand touchline. This was Altaire's best kick of the game so far from a difficult angle. And this is where Sri Lanka coughed up the ball but managed to get a penalty in the scrum. And Chatura Senivaratna got the first and only points for Sri Lanka. Here's Duffy, again looking for Ramage. Ramage gets the ball back inside to Nisbet, who's running a wonderful support line. And there were two more players on hand if Hong Kong needed them. And here's Ramage with his second try, stepping off his right foot once, twice, 3 times, and then bursting through in the face of a couple of tackles. And here's Duffy again, standing up the defense, and lovely one-touch pass from Overton to Chong. And Chong has an easy run in. And those were the 4 tries that Hong Kong have scored. So no real disasters from Sri Lanka, but Hong Kong have been really clinical. They've taken every opportunity that they've been given. And the difference, Dinuk, as we were talking about before kickoff, is the fact that this Hong Kong team have prepared much better than Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka have had their players available very sporadically. They've come together just a few weeks before the tournament, but Hong Kong have been preparing for about 6 months. They've played games against the likes of Chile, against the likes of Fiji, and Sri Lanka. This is the first match that they're playing as a unit together. So that's obviously the difference that we're seeing. They're not looking match fit, where Hong Kong are looking really, really well oiled.
Yeah, and also if you can see how the support team line is coming, and there's the basic skills execution, knowing where the support is coming from, and that's where the game has turned around so far in this first half, Shanaka. Because if you see Sri Lanka, those passes that they have gone in off Chatura Senivaratna and the supporting running players, there's no communication, and that's where the opportunities have gone begging. But if you see Hong Kong, they've taken every opportunity, gone to the outside channels, using their fast wingers on the outside, and then they know where the support is coming in from. That's where this try was scored by Alex Nisbet. But other than that, it was too easy for Marcus Ramage and also Sean Hong Chong to score those 3 tries. Just was so the basic skill execution, as you said, it shows how much gel they are together as a team. And something that we have been crying for years and years is to have a bit more training sessions or get the teams together. That's the ThePapare crew working on live production, and also we have a good crowd build up. And talking about what Sri Lanka needs to do is just the simple thing: get the team about 2 to 3 months before. I know it's very hard to get the release of the club players, but if you can get them together about 2 to 3 months before, I think that'll be you can see a massive change coming up.
Well, everybody talks about New Zealand and how good they are and how far they are above everyone else in world rugby. And one of the reasons that they are so far ahead, Dinuk, is the fact that the All Blacks coach has a complete monopoly on the players he wants rested, the players he wants trained in a particular way, and the clubs will oblige. And I don't think that's something that New Zealand Rugby Football Union actually imposes on the clubs. It's just a voluntary way in which they recognize that the All Blacks are the priority. And if you want a player rested, yes, we won't play him for this game, and we'll make sure we don't run him ragged in training. We'll make sure that he does the gym sessions that the All Black trainer wants him to do. So that's the kind of cooperation that they have at that level, and that's the kind of cooperation that Hong Kong have shown as well, as Ramage comes out along with his brother. They've obviously been discussing their mixed fortunes this afternoon, the Ramage brothers. One of them had a try disallowed, which he thought he'd scored in the first moment, and then he had to go off for a yellow card as well. But his brother has been keeping the family flag flying by scoring 2 outstanding tries and assisting one for Mark Nisbet as well. So it's a mixed fortunes day for the Ramage family if they're watching back in Hong Kong, or if they made the trip down with their boys here. Sri Lanka come out to the cheers of the crowd gathered here, which you saw in that halftime break at Colombo. It's a hot afternoon, plenty of people at the ground and plenty of people watching on ThePapare.com and on Asia Rugby as well. It's 22 points to 3, but it's not as massive a gulf as the scoreboard suggests, Dinuk, and there's plenty that Sri Lanka can achieve in this next 40 minutes.
Yeah, they can, and they need to score first. Very important. Get the structures right, move forward, and off this kickoff, if they can get the ball back and then put a lot of pressure on Hong Kong, because these last 20 minutes, as we spoke, will test both teams under this humidity condition, 76% that we saw just before kickoff. And they'll be tested. The bench strength will be tested with both teams. And Sri Lanka have already lost a key player in Gamanu Chethi earlier on in the game, which makes one man short in that bench.
Chatura Seniviratne kicks off the second half of this Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship, taken by Overman.
In front.
And the kick put back, and watch for Altier to kick a little bit more in this half. One thing is because they've got a lead. The other thing is because Chamod Fernando and the rest of his back three will be looking straight into the sun.
Good.
Slice straight off the boot, and Chong drops that ball with a lucky reprieve for Sri Lanka. Chamod Fernando not having the best of games. He's not been in the kind of form he was for Isipatana. We seem to be saying that like a broken record, but it is the truth. He's got to get his confidence back. Just a few steps, just a few defenders beaten, and suddenly he'll be that player of old, just like cricketers are one knock away from
1
form.
meter. Stop.
I think Chamod is one blistering run away from coming back to his best.
Crouch.
Yeah, perfect stage, isn't it? If he can get that one high ball right in front of him, about 20-30 meters to run, get his pace correct and a bit angles and support line coming in, he can start be devastating as he was last season, as Harit Bandara gives this back check and back inside the 22 by Chatura Seniviratne. And the ball has been knocked back. Good hit coming up there. Great opportunity for Sri Lanka now.
Ball knocked forward by Chong, so he's not having the best of days under the high ball. And the referee allowing play to go on. I thought there was a knock on there that Sri Lanka should probably have got a scrum for, but referee opting to play the advantage. Here's Ramage, who drops the ball. That's 2 knock-ons, and unfortunately Chamod Fernando can't get the rebound into his hands, because if he did, the field would really have opened up for him. So you can see the Sri Lankan fans know what a close opportunity that was.
Yeah, he would have just motored down the touch line on the near side. Chamod Fernando didn't have much defense for Hong Kong. There's only one player there, Marcus Ramage. He has a lot of pace, but it would have been a very interesting battle between Chamod.
Okay, I make sure.
Look for Gihan Pereira off the back here. It's a nice setup for an 8-9 move. Suck the defense into the middle of the field and then have Chatura Seniviratne unleash Navin Henakankanamge. Haven't really seen him with ball in hand too much today. But Bandara picks up and gives it straight to his fly half, and Seniviratne puts it high. Dhiru Kamarasinghe seems to be the only man interested in taking that ball. And again Dange juggles the ball, but it's an early tackle according to the referee. And Max Denmark took him early.
Sorry.
Yes, that's the call from the referee, and Dange
Sorry.
looks like he's quite lucky to get away with that.
Sorry, Norma.
Sri Lankan fans look on as Seniviratne looks to take Sri Lanka back into the 22. Their line-out has been functioning well, so if they can avoid the sack, this is an ideal moment for a nice rolling maul. Here's the incident again. Dange looks to catch the ball, and it looks like he was juggling it when Max Denmark smashed into him. So Denmark may count himself a little unfortunate.
Play on.
Ball nicely palmed off, but a smashing tackle by the tight head prop Christensen, shutting that move down before it had begun.
Back.
But Sri Lanka do well to recover the ball.
Play
Front row
on.
forwards have been putting in a shift
Play.
for Hong Kong today. And it's untidy at the back. Ihan Pereira
Hands
picks
away.
it up and goes in again. Sri Lanka looking to leave the ball behind more often than not in these exchanges, and they're lucky that Hong Kong have knocked the ball on that time.
Couple of hard hits there by Hong Kong on the Sri Lankan forwards trying to move forward. This is a great opportunity, Shanaka. Scrum has been working very well for Sri Lanka. And one thing that we have not seen, as you said, is that ball going out to Navin Heenakankanamge will be very interesting if we can get this first phase ball on the outside to him with quick passes or a couple of skip passes onto him. It will be very interesting because he has a lot of space there to work on.
I think man for man, he's probably faster and got more evasive skills than Chong has. So it'll be nice to see him in a one-on-one matchup. Nice to see the Sri Lankan front row having a bit of a go at their Hong Kong counterparts. Here's Gian Pereira, goes off the back. Lovely little ankle run by Dhiru Kamarasinghe. Here's quick ball. Now it's available for Tikshana Dasanayake. Dasanayake going for the line, and he's over, is it? Yes, he is. The defender drifted off him, knowing the danger that Heenakankanamge poses, and Tikshana Dasanayake put the hammer down and scored Sri Lanka's first try. So Gihan Pereira, we've been looking for him off the back of the scrum, and the first time he picked up, it was a lovely angle from Dhiru Kamarasinghe, and it was a copybook move off first phase.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it? That's what we were expecting from the Sri Lankans, and finally they have come into terms with getting their communication and right and running angles right. Here's the replay once again. This was before that bust by Dhiru Kamarasinghe. Look at this. Tikshana Dasanayake just had the ball right in front of him, didn't have too much players, and then the defense started drifting off to Navin Heenakankanamge. He was on the outside, another threat. And then finally Tikshana Dasanayake scoring that first try for Sri Lanka.
Too much power and pace from Dasanayake for the tackle of Duffy. And Chatra Seniviratne will try to get his team into double figures now. Very difficult kick, but he's taking his time this time. Last kick he had may have rushed it a little bit. The top of your screen there, Anil Jayasinghe looks on with Jeffrey Sahid, one of the sub-officials, along with Tilina Ratnayake and Romario De Silva. And the ball drifts wide of the right-hand upright. And Chatura has left 5 points on the park. 3 of them probably very gettable. And Minister Harin Fernando doesn't look too happy. Krishan Madhan has been carrying well today in the number 4 jersey. You can see he's not in the best of conditioning that he would have liked to be, but still blood and guts kind of player. And Diluk Shadange once again drops the ball. I don't think he's taken a clean catch this game so far.
Yeah, very good under the high ball normally, and naturally under the high ball. Diluk Shadange
Okay, yeah.
creates a lot of
But
lift.
here.
But this game so far, he's trying to go into contact too much, not big enough to match up these Hong Kong players. Need to look for other options, trying to step and run. He has a lot of pace as well. Experienced player.
That was a gang tackle by Oliver Overman and Mikkel Christensen, two of the hardest hitters in this Hong Kong forward pack. So
Point.
Dange was always going to come off second best, and he probably knew that going in. Good work once again from Sri Lanka to shift this scrum backwards. Ramage coming in at first receiver off the blind side wing. And the referee's got his arm up for advantage. Here's the other Ramage, Gregor this time.
No.
Colbert looks for the pass that looked like it was way forward. But referee says play on.
No hands, no.
And they've got a penalty coming, and the referee may even go to his pocket.
Captain.
See what the incident was for.
Time off.
We can go back to that pass. We'll see whether it was flat. And Heenakankanamge gets called up.
Use the hands, please. Yellow card. Cynical foul play.
It is a yellow card for Gihan Pereira, and that's a massive loss. Didn't really see what the offense that Gihan Pereira committed was. Maybe he
Penalty. Offside.
hit the ball down while it was still in the ruck. If you can see a replay, will show you exactly what it was. And this is an easy three-pointer for Paul Altier. But Hong Kong not settling for 3, they want 7.
Okay,
A good call, 8 on 7. The scrum has been steady so far with 8 on 8. So with a man shot, I think Hong Kong will put a lot of pressure on this scrum. He's Gihan Pereira. Has had a good game, just came into terms in that second half. He'll not be happy spending the next 10 minutes on the bench.
Yes, it was an interesting period of play where Sri Lanka looked like they might start coming back into the game. Could ill afford that, and at under 19 level you've got to match up numbers, so it's 7 on 7. And just out of the reach of the outstretched arms of the defensive winger, that was Henakan Kanamge, made the choice to go for the intercept, but the pass was too good. And Gregor Ramage eventually gets the try that he thought he'd scored in the first minute. So watch it here, Altier's pass. And we didn't really see it in that shot, but Henakan Kanamge went for the intercept. And this man, Paul Altier, has created everything that Hong Kong have come up with today.
Yeah, the perfect fly half to have, isn't it? Paul Altier, he has done his kicking. Only the place kicking has not been good. He has spotted space, spotted players running into gaps, and created space. As you said, Navin Henakan Kanamge, I think that was the correct choice to make. 2 on 1, nothing much to do, going for a tackle. Had he caught that ball, he would have been under the post on the other side of the park. But not unlucky for him. Hong Kong have scored their 5th try, and first in the second half, as Paul Altier will line this up. 1 out of 4. It's just 25% kicking.
You can't have your cake and eat it, they say. But Paul Altier's passing has been right on the money, although his kicking hasn't quite. The Sri Lankan bench looks on disconsolately, as does Gihan Pereira in the naughty corner.
Starts off a bit like Dan Bigger, isn't it? And then goes off nicely calm and composed as Paul Altier struck this in between, goes under the crossbar. So kicking has been a problem, which will be tested for Hong Kong later on. The bench is happy. Here's the replay once again. Look at that. A lovely floated pass off to Gregor Ramage on the outside. Navin Henakan Kanamge was just flying right onto that ball. Couldn't get his fingertips to it.
Altier's heart would have been in his mouth for a half a second or so as he saw Henakan Kanamge running onto that. He would have been a very relieved man when it ended up in Ramage's hands. And that ball dribbling into touch. Not the greatest restart collection by Hong Kong.
One step.
And Sri Lankan fans screaming for a bit of a forward pass in the lead up to that try. Before the penalty, of course. And again, Sri Lanka's line-out steal is good. Harit Bandara swivels into a cul-de-sac.
One step back.
And Ashane Fernando acts as scrum half. Takes route 1.
Hold.
And Sven Muller follows suit. Here's Harit Bandara now. Again, Rishen Mardana carrying strongly in midfield. Here's Chandra Senivaratna, comes back off his right foot but runs straight into the wall. That is Jay Cook. And really good work there by Gregor Ramage, getting in there and making sure he had rights to the ball. Wonderful turnover. So Ramage, after his stint in the bin, is determined to make amends, and he's done some good things so far. He's scored a try and he's won a penalty for his team as well. And the Sri Lankan fans, their faces have set a little bit.
Gregor Ramage, as a perfect number 6 would do, right on top of that ball, and also running on the flank. This is the modern day number 6. See them running a lot on the touch lines, looking for support, trying to create a mismatch on the wing. Was denied one on the opposite side and scored one on the other side. He has done everything in this game, isn't he, Shanaka?
Yes, he has. When he looks at his report card, it'll be a mixed bag, but he won't mind as long as the score stays somewhere near where it is. Kobe has to deal with a variable bounce, and Denmark straight off the mark. Lovely work from the Hong Kong Sevens player. Gains about 20 meters, and now it's an easy run in for Ramage if he chooses to do so. Yes, he does. He doesn't need to pass, and Ramage gets his hat trick. So easy work there. And as we say that, it looks like he might be cramping up a little bit, Marcus Ramage, and why not? If he scored a hat trick, he can afford to cramp. And that was all created by some outstanding work from Max Denmark, the number 8. Hadn't seen much of him this game so far, but he just burst through the middle of the field and created all sorts of space for Ramage to walk that one in almost.
Here's Max Denmark. Look at that once again, how much impact he creates. Gets about 2 to 3 players sucked in it, and a wide pass out. Couple of passes to Denmark. Dange missing the tackle. Just pushes off one and dives on the corner.
Next, I will upload the punch.
Well, Sri Lanka have a few players on the bench. They've got Randy Silva and Hashan Madhumadava. They might look to go to that bench sooner rather than later, Dinuk, because we're not seeing Dilushka Dange having the best game either. And Chamut Fernando perhaps also may not be too upset if he's taken off. Maybe Randy Silva to fullback and Madhumadava on the wing. Options available for the Sri Lankan coaching staff if they choose to take them.
Dayan Sabah warming up on the far side of his screen, so he'll be back in soon. In place of whom will be the question. And we also have Mohammad Shabir. They're very experienced. St. Anthony's number 8 this time once again has the distance, goes off the right post. So he has not got his kicking boots on today. Left it at Hong Kong as the bench for Hong Kong is warming up, doing their drills.
Time off.
A couple of changes coming on for Sri Lanka.
Blue number 6 and 10
Looks like
off.
Randy Silva
Number
and
6
Dayan Sabah both coming in.
Well, just as we said that Sri Lanka should go to the bench, the coaches have opted to do so, and Dayan Sabah comes in. It'll be interesting to see who goes out, and it is the number 6 who goes off, Timir Amanda.
Number 6.
The Wesley lock, replaced by the Wesley number 8. He'll probably go into the second row though. Sabah had a decent game. Timir Amanda been good in the line out.
Behind the kicker.
And Sri Lanka Customs probably didn't allow Paul Altier's kicking boots through. Left quite a few points on the park, which is why the score is what it is. And here's Denmark, the danger man. Now he's got a head of steam up after that run, beats 3 tacklers, and it takes Avisha Priyankara's considerable bulk to bring him down. Here's Ramage. Good chop tackle on him by Chatura Sanivaratna. And deep in the pocket is Altier. Makes sure his kick can't get charged down by standing deep, and Kobe finds him with a nice flat pass. Here's Chamut Fernando now, looking for a little bit of that electric burst. The Sri Lankan fans are hoping that he will find his form mid-game. Nice little short pass, and Sven Muller trundles this one forward. Good quick ball for Bandara. And that's a lovely gap spotted by Dinuk Amarasinghe. Straightened the line beautifully. And unfortunately for Sri Lanka, Amarasinghe is compelled to hold on in the face of an outstanding bit of scavenging work by Oliver Overman. The open side flank has been having a superb game as well, and that's where Sri Lanka have conceded superiority. This third row for Hong Kong has been absolutely outstanding, Dinuk.
Yeah, there have been Oliver Overman, Max Denmark, and also Gregor Ramage on the outside. During the breakdown, they put a lot of pressure. And this time it was Alec Nisbet who got the turnover for Hong Kong, right on top of that ball. Against his opposite number, Dinuk Amarasinghe.
Blue gap.
Here's another opportunity for Hong Kong just to seal this game. We're going about 28 minutes remaining on the clock. Oh. That's easy as it comes for a prop forward. Sri Lanka turned over ball. Harit Bandara was just wandering off and bounced off straight into Jay Cook.
Well, Jay Cook is never going to score an easier try in his life, is he? That was unfortunate because Mohideen got a good hand on that ball. in the defensive lineout. We'll watch it again. There it is. But he's just got too much on it. And Jay Cook, quick as a flash, following on to that. And you can see he enjoyed that one. It's not every day that prop gets to run 10 meters untouched to dot the ball down.
Let's go.
And his mates will enjoy that one.
Yeah.
And a couple of sodas on him, probably. This under 19 team probably can't drink a lot more than that.
Can move out.
Unfortunately, it looks like Moeddin has stayed down after that jump. Looks like he might have done his knee a little bit. He
can move.
Touched his knee immediately. Don't forget to tune into ThePapare.com every day for the recap. Your daily sports update in 2 minutes. 6:30 p.m. every day. We'll round up everything that's happened in the world of sport for you as Altier lines up another kick.
This spot is a mistake for me. Sorry. I couldn't see it.
These pictures coming to you live on ThePapare.com and also on Asia Rugby. ThePapare.com will bring you all updates and all sporting activities from Sri Lanka and around the world. Just stay tuned to us. A lot of articles, and you can share your thoughts on our social media platforms as well. As Paul Alter puts this off the right post once again.
Well, the way he kicks it from the top of his boot, it looks like it gets that little banana curve going where it comes in left and shapes away from the post, even from the right side. Usually you would find right-footed kickers curling it the other way, but Altier's kick seems to have a mind of its own today, and he's been missing just by a whisker. Sri Lankan fans excited to be on TV. And here's Jay Cook, the try scorer, and he's got a goose step on him now. It's amazing what a try can do for your confidence, and Cook is full of running. Colbert. Lovely collection by Overman. I thought he's been outstanding today. Colbert looks for his fly half, and an uncharacteristic mistake with the ball in hand from Altier. Looks to put the grubber in, and Harith Bandara manages to run the chip out of trouble. Ashane Fernando calls for the pick and go. Dinu Kamarasinghe goes in with his tight head prop. Sven Muller goes in with his flank forward, but again, look at the body position. Outstanding body position from Ramage that time. Jan Pereira is back on the park. Here's Chamuth Fernando, smashed in a sandwich by Max Denmark and Liam Herbert. This is good work from Sri Lanka as Hong Kong look like they might be tiring a little bit. Ashane Fernando now, the big prop forward from Royal College.
Neck roll.
And again, holding on, says the referee, or high tackle. And Hong Kong take it quickly through Kuba. Lovely little offload off the back of the hand for Ramage to run onto. And in the end, it was Dange going back, who was forced into touch by the chase of Ramage.
Mark is over. Time off.
There was a neck roll off that breakdown. That's where the penalty was conceded. And another change coming up for Sri Lanka. Looks like it's
moment. Oh, number 14.
Randy Silva who will come in, and also for Hong Kong there are 3 changes coming up.
Okay,
Sam Tosi, Henry Poon, and also Summers.
Plump.
Well, Hong Kong emptying the bench, looking to get their players a bit of experience, and you can see Ashane Fernando writhing in pain. Looks like a quadricep cramp that he's got after that bustling run that he just made.
Number
He's
6.
been given some
9.
dextrose
6 on 9.
to take quickly.
What is number 6, 9? One more.
Randy Silva is on the pitch now for Sri Lanka.
11 off. Number 6, 9, 11 off. Hong Kong.
Brother also capped at junior level and senior level, Rehan Silva. Be proud to see his brother
Number 3 off.
on the pitch, and
3.
the captain goes off. The co-captain Mark Colbert will be happy
off.
with his
3.
team's performance, and Joining him on the bench after a try-scoring performance is Shun Hong Chong, the left winger, who had a mixed afternoon today.
Who is captain?
Dropped a few balls but also scored a try. And Gregor Ramage is also off.
56 minutes on the clock, and all the match highlights, photographs, and
Number 3 and 9.
the article, the match report will be updated on the ThePapare.com website. You can log on to www.thepapare.com, ThePapare.com website, for the match report and photographs, and also the match highlights. Sri Lanka enforced more changes.
Hashan Madhumadava coming on at scrum half, and Vimukta Gamage is the front row replacement.
No, time off. Time off.
So Hong Kong thought they'd had a line out that time. It was Overman who thought he'd won a clean ball at the front. He's been doing a lot for his team, Overman. And at that time he manages to get it into the hands of the newly arrived scrum half as Nisbet crashes that ball forward. Henry Poon is the man in the number 21 jersey for Hong Kong. Referee's got his arm out for advantage. And Jay Cook will look to take it quickly. Cook has already scored a try. Can he get another one?
Offside.
Looks to go left and right and tell the Sri Lankan defender what he thought of him as well.
He's fired up after that try, isn't it?
Other line
Why
up.
not a prop forward? Has one better than Owen Franks.
Well, he's a big lad, and I think the Sri Lankan front row have been giving him a bit of stick for going backwards in the scrum. Dinuk could see Sven Muller having a bit of a word. So I think Jay Cook got his own back with that try, and he's not hesitating to rub it in the face of the opposition. And why not? This is the kind of front row niggle that we love to see in rugby, which is why union scrums will never hopefully become like league scrums, because this is the kind of matchups that we love to see. Henry Poon
Score the set.
looks like he's a more combative character than his captain, who's just gone off.
Stability. Okay. Don't move. Magachi.
And the stability in the
No,
scrum
okay,
after
no,
the arrival
okay,
of
Marcus
Vimukta
here.
Gamage looks like it might
You
have
have to bind.
suffered a little, because Ashen
Fine.
Fernando was
Before
the rock
set,
in that
before set.
tight head position for Sri Lanka. Henakan Kanamge is also off, the captain.
Crouch.
So under the posts, Hong Kong with a wonderful attacking opportunity. Max Denmark will be with his eyes lit up there between his second rows, and it's not a good pass to Henry Poon. Denmark had the right idea, but the pass to Henry Poon was just too far forward,
Time off number 23.
and the replacement scrum half just
Number
couldn't
23.
get that ball to stick. But it was his number 8 that didn't do him any favors here.
Just in front, putting that hard hand in front. Couldn't get both hands together to catch that ball there. 37 for 2. Sri Lanka chasing 112 up in Dharmasala, as we have about 10 minutes remaining on the clock.
Probably the Hong Kong squad members who didn't make today's match day 23. Maybe travelling Hong Kong fans. Good rivalry between these two teams on the Asian rugby circuit. Hong Kong, of course, almost always coming out on top. Much better structured rugby program than Sri Lanka's, but Sri Lanka are a thorn in the side of all the top Asian teams. They know they never have an easy game against them. And Gihan Pereira, returning from the sin bin, beats Liam Herbert, who looks like he was playing on the open side there. Well collected that time by the replacement left wing, and here's Altier, stands in the tackle and manages to find Ramage. Ramage stands strong once again in the tackle of Dinuk Amarasinghe. Henry Poon now dummies and goes. Henry Poon has got Overman with him, chooses to go on the inside. Still available for Sri Lanka, but the referee will blow this one up and say that it was not.
Also not him.
Well, that's an interesting call from the referee. It looked very much like Altier didn't control that ball at all. And if the Sri Lankan players were retreating and Altia runs into them, that shouldn't really be a 10-meter call. Looks like the fly half got away with one there, if you can see a replay.
Time off.
Yeah, very interesting. He went on with the play, knocked the ball forward,
Number 2.
and there was no material impact. None of them even touched. The opposition team didn't even touch Altair there. Gets the penalty and puts this
Time on.
into touch. We have another opportunity.
So Hong Kong rest Callum Tam and Oliver Overman, replaced by Siu Fung Chao,
Good.
who comes on as hooker,
Ball is out. Play on. Ball is
and
out.
Ryan
ball is
Walker,
out.
who comes on the flank. Here's Poon to Jay Cook. Dropped that time by Mohideen.
One step back.
Herbert carries
Hands
strongly.
low.
Poon thinks about the snipe, but gives it instead to Nisbet, who has a lovely back of the hand offload. Knows exactly where his support runners are, and now Hong Kong building up towards the try. Max Denmark stepping, sliding, and he's over, is he? And no, he's not. He's just into touch
Touch.
by the sound of things, and may have knocked the ball on.
Time off. Number 1 and 2.
Yeah, Max Denmark, every
Sri
time he
Lanka,
gets the ball,
number
looks
1 and 2
dangerous.
off. Number 2.
And he showed so much strength, skills of stepping. But
Really
unfortunately,
busy player, isn't he? Dinuk doesn't run the same strong lines that number 8s you've come to expect from, but is more like a bustling winger.
yeah, more of a running number 8, you would say, off
Time
the back
off,
of the
time
scrum,
off.
spot space, runs in,
Scrum.
connects with other players very well, and
That's right.
has a lot of pace, a lot of 7 skill that he's showing.
Plenty of players cramping up in this
Okay, let's
mid-afternoon heat in Colombo, Sri Lanka. You're watching the
Injury.
Asian Rugby Under-19 Championship. Sri Lanka and Hong Kong in the playoff for a place in the Tier 2 Junior World
Okay,
Cup.
let's go.
It's 37 points to 8 with Paul Altier, leaving quite a few points on the park with his conversions.
One step back.
Would be
Yeah.
closer to 50 if Altier had
Clear
got a
gap,
few of
please.
those kicks. But Hong Kong have been a well-oiled machine this afternoon, despite not playing at their best.
Great. Good.
Nice steal of the front of the line out. This is Herbert backpedaling and driven towards the touchline, but Poon
Play off.
does really well to shovel that ball away. And here's Nisbet having a strong game. Poon, a little dink from the number 22, Thaddeus Summers, who's on at fly half. Here's Max Denmark, spins out of one tackle. Here's Summers, Altier. Altier out of the back of the hand, but that ball does go forward, and Ramage doesn't have luck. As Diane Sabah
Coaching.
has a slight difference of opinion with
Coach.
Marcus Ramage, the hat-trick hero
Number
for Hong
14
Kong.
off. Substitution. Time off.
Here's the replay once again.
Time off.
Again, lovely hand shown there. Putting the pass behind, but going forward there for Hong Kong. Looks like Hong Kong have emptied their bench. No more players to come onto the park. As Marcus Ramage is the last one to be taken out.
So David Tang comes on in the front row as well. So Tang and Chow have replaced
Time off.
Callum Tam and Mikkel Christensen. Jay Cook has moved to the tight head side, so clearly the coaches are willing to run Jay Cook into condition, moving him from the loose head side to the tight head side.
Set.
And we look at Jake Barlow also, who's moved from the second row to the blind side flank, so lots of work for him to do, as Gihan Pereira does really well, combining once again with Dinuk Amarasinghe, which led to Sri Lanka's only try so far in the game. Tackler not releasing, so Sri Lanka will have to take this quickly. There's 17 minutes in the game, but they're not going to win this Sorry, there's 7 minutes left in this game. It's a 70-minute game, not an 80-minute game. They're not going to win this by
One step back.
taking too many forward steps. They need to take one decisive step and try and make the scoreboard a little bit more respectable.
3.
Hong Kong 9 penalties to Sri Lanka 7. That will concern them a little bit, as Madhumadava gives the pass away to the fly half. Good work there coming in by Mohammad Shabir, the experienced Antonian. Number 8, David Tang is well in front of the offside line when he approaches, and Jay Cook looks like that was a tired neck roll as well. Referee still playing advantage. Rishen Madana has been outstanding with the ball in hand for Sri Lanka, one of the few players who's won his contacts. Here's Dinu Kamarasinghe, another man that has carried the ball strongly for the Sri Lankans. Here's a bust through the middle from Dinesh Rodrigo. And Madhumadava now stepping through but falling over his own feet. Gets up and chucks the ball back, and Mikkel Christiansen is right on hand to make sure that there's no more danger from that move.
Hold!
Thought it'd gone off, but he's still on the park, Mikkel Christiansen. It's a hard flat pass from Henry Poon. And Chathra Senivaratne loses control once again, so Sri Lanka will get the put into the scrum from the first knock-on. So now it's opening up a bit. Dinuk, I think Hong Kong are tiring, and that's where Sri Lanka are looking to punch holes.
Yeah, and the bench looking good for Sri Lanka. They're looking strong and going for contact very hard, and retrieving ball, and the scrum half of Madhumadava is much more faster than Bandara. Shanaka, it's also time for us to discuss the man of the match. There have been a couple of players stand out for Sri Lanka, as you said before. Rishen Madan and also Dinu Kamarasinghe from the Sri Lankan point of view. And then we have Gregor Ramage, despite a yellow card, has had a very good game. Paul Altea also had a good kicking game, as well as Marcus Ramage, who scored a hat-trick. Who do you think? Who's your pick, Shanaka?
Well, I'd actually like to mention a name that you didn't mention, Dinuk. I think both Ramage brothers have been outstanding, but I think Paul Altea's performance is something that really did put Hong Kong on the board early in that half. His vision, the way he took the opportunities. But for me, the man who's gone off, that's Oliver Overman, the flanker, is probably would be my man of the match, because he was everywhere, made some telling hits, linked up play nicely, and was good in the line out as well. So for me, it's between Altea and Overman. Let's give it a couple more minutes to see whether Altea does something spectacular and ends the debate. Madhumadava, little step infield from Chathra Senivaratne, who's still going, trying to free his arms. And Thaddeus Summers looking to try and turn that ball over, but Senivaratne doing just enough. Gihan Pereira going in after this ball, and now Sri Lanka pick and go. Good defense from Jay Cook and Chow that time. Sri Lanka now using the battering rams close to the line. Madhumadava stepping off his right foot, trying to burrow his way to the line. But Jay Cook with a telling tackle. Another man that's put in a shift today. Jay Cook, the number 1. Again, a pick and go close to the line. Sri Lankan crowd close to the touchline, urging on their players. Chathra Senivaratne spots the gap. Christensen does well to try and slow that ball down. Also on the field, Sam Soy. Again, the pick and go. Sri Lanka keeping it close quarters. They don't want to risk a pass, and Madhumadava now gives it to Shabir.
No hands! Hands away! No hands!
Shabir Ekanayaka, in fact, has come on in the number 17 jersey. And a penalty, says the referee. The ruck was formed and hands were used, so Hong Kong concede their 10th penalty.
Okay.
That won't please the coaching staff. Rishen Maudana now steps on his left foot, and it's a tired step. Sri Lanka will look to keep this close as they have been doing, but now they move it to Chatura Senivaratna, who dummies and drops the ball, and now a little opportunity for Hong Kong.
21.
Unnecessary barge from the Hong Kong player on the Sri Lankan opposition. Let's look at it again.
Here's Chatura Senivaratne trying to take the ball onto the line. He had about 3 players on the outside, but trying to go on his own and dropping the ball off. But that has been the story of the day for Sri Lanka. Decision making has been not that good, as we have only 30 seconds on our clock.
Sri Lanka have played very much like it is their first game out of the blocks. Look, if this was a tournament, you would have expected them to get a lot better. But it's just this one match, and then another one in Hong Kong in 6 days' time on the 16th. Look for Hong Kong to be bigger favourites, odds-on favourites in their home grounds.
Closer.
Early kick-off for this game as well. But Hong Kong have dealt with the heat well. And Paul Altier probably playing the 80 minutes, shading Overman for the man of the match.
Crouch. Point.
He's had a hand in everything that Hong Kong has done.
Stop. Yes, it. No, prayer.
And Max Denmark now coming off a wheeled scrum under the post, manages to get the ball away to Jack Abbott. Abbott to Duffy. Here's Thaddeus Summers. Here's Poon, finds some space on the outside. Opts not to pass and sensibly comes in field. And again Sri Lanka conceding a penalty unnecessarily. And that was certainly not 10 meters. And Summers puts the ball over the top. And it stays in field. Dilushka Dange has had an afternoon he'd want to forget as that ball dribbles into touch. And that's the full-time whistle from the referee. And Altier shakes the hand of his counterpart. And it's a convincing win here for Hong Kong. Sri Lanka tried manfully. It wasn't the rout that some people were expecting at 37 points to 8. But bear in mind that Altier, despite man of the match performance, has kept quite a few points on the park with some missed conversions. The Sri Lankan bench came in and they changed things around. They hung tough in that last 15 or 20 minutes. Here's the man who had an outstanding game as well, Oliver Overman. And it was touch and go between him and Paul Altier for man of the match here on ThePapare.com. Do write in to us at ThePapare and tell us whether you agree or not with our decision here. But it has been a good encounter, a good tough encounter. Hong Kong will definitely feel they played a game of rugby, Dinuk.
Yeah, the structures were very good. Hong Kong from the beginning itself, the way they played, the way they carried their ball, catching and passing was very good. On the other hand, Sri Lanka, it just showed how much preparation that they have gone against with time, as time will tell. And I think Sri Lanka will come better against Hong Kong. The only thing that they'll go against is the conditions and a away game that they will be playing down in Hong Kong in about 6 days' time. Other than that, here's the confirmation: 37 points to 8, the full-time score here at Racecourse Grounds in Colombo. Other than that, Shanak, I think Sri Lanka can be happy with the performance if they can get the catching and passing right and the running lines right. Just a bit of thinking to do. I think they can cause a lot of problems against this Hong Kong team.
Yes, they were definitely not second best in the territorial battle. Here's the first half highlights. Marcus Ramage with the first try. An easy one, nicely created by his inside backs. And Altier's conversion.
And then Sri Lanka managed to get a penalty through the scrum for Chatura Senivaratne. That was the only points that Sri Lanka scored in the first half. The 3 of Chatura Senivaratne's boot. Here's Hong Kong once again. Look at this inside pass off to Alex Nisbet. Superb running line by the second 5. Going in support closer to the wing after passing that ball. And this Ramage, Marcus Ramage, his second try out of 3 he scored today. Stepping, pushing, turning, twisting, everything there for Hong Kong. And this was the other wing on the other side. Shun Hong Chong scoring that try in the near side for Hong Kong. That was the first half. And in the second half for Sri Lanka, started off very well through Tikshana Dasanayake and Navin Henakan Kanamge on the outside. I don't think he touched the ball as much as he would like to. Or did he touch at all is a question mark in that game so far for Sri Lanka. And Hong Kong, this was his brother, Gregor Ramage, scoring that try. And Max Denmark was another outstanding player for Hong Kong, setting up this try for the visitors. And a lovely pass. This was the hat-trick for Marcus Ramage. He loves playing against Sri Lanka. Just got himself injured. And this was the try that Jay Cook went one above Owen Franks in the try-scoring list in an international game to cap it off the highlights. So Hong Kong come on top against Sri Lanka here at the Racecourse International Rugby Stadium of leg 1 of the Asians 15s and the under-19s. 7-1 Hong Kong leading on that line. Will not be happy with the conversion rate. Just one conversion. Penalties just one for Sri Lanka. Half-time score 22-3 and the full-time 37-8. And the player of the match, Oliver Overman of Hong Kong, I think will also go with Paul Altair. So both of them will receive a man of the match for today, Shanaka.
Yes, and if you look at the conversion statistic, that's 12 points that Paul Altair left on the park, which would have taken Hong Kong up to 49, which would have been a convincing victory on the scoreboard. But at the moment, it flatters Sri Lanka a little bit because they did concede as many as 7 tries, and that's something that their defensive coach will have to put right before they go to Hong Kong next week. They won't want to let Hong Kong in for 7 more tries next week or more than that. They'll know where the Hong Kong strengths lie, and they'll probably mark Marcus Ramage and Gregor Ramage very well. They did a good job on Max Denmark today, but it was the rest of the team, especially Mark Nisbet, who was actually outstanding at number 12, and Altair, who manages to pull the strings. He's like the puppet master of this Hong Kong team, and if they manage to shut him down and get that defensive line really working well on him, then perhaps Sri Lanka has a chance up in Hong Kong on the 16th. So good luck to both teams as they play the second leg. Thanks very much for joining us on Asia Rugby and ThePapare.com here. And powered by Dialogue, this has been the Asian Rugby Championship Under-19 tournament from Dinuk Bhaskar and myself and the rest of the Papare team. Thanks a lot for joining us. And until next time, it's good afternoon from Colombo.